This is Paul and his SolidWorks program. This is the new bumper mount for the short course truck, right?
Indeed, the new SCX61.
Yeah. There it is. 5 pieces, 4 of which are carbon fiber.
But no extra bolts. I mean, it's no more complex than the current one.
Mm-hmm.
And lighter and, sturdier.
Yeah.
Everything
all
to boot.
around better.
Everything lines up pretty well. I think I have a problem. There's not enough clearance here. Like those are right up against each other, and there should be like 5 thou clearance there.
A minor design problem to be solved. Okay, come on, let's talk.
I'm talking. What are we talking about? We're going to talk, so this is Paul's workbench.
Video what?
7.2. 7.2. And we were coming back to the short course that we mentioned. We're making a new, the 61.
We mentioned
and
in 7.0.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is putting the tower forward on the new truck. So as you can see, I've already done that to my SCX60 CF. What do you say? I actually did it a little while after we made the cubed, and it works really well. It gets rid of one of the only weak points on this truck was the ears would sometimes break off. The ears of the rear bulkhead, where the plastic that mounted the rear camber link.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't run a nut and a washer on the bottom side, they could be pretty. I don't want to say fragile, but that was one of the weak points of the truck. And these aluminum mounts are just a whole lot sturdier. They're also a little bit lower. In some old setups, it's marked down that I actually dremeled, a little plastic away to lower that inner rear camber link, and so these aluminum mounts are a little lower. So that's one of the revisions that's going to happen with the new truck, along with, as we were looking at, the new rear bumper mount. And I also wanted to share a tip with you guys, and this will work on your old trucks as well as the new one. But I was racing at Sparks RC Raceway a few months ago, and I broke off the body mount from the top of my rear bulkhead. And you can see I actually slotted it out to try to get those screws out of there. But to finish racing, I broke it off in round 3 of qualifying, and I needed to run the main. I think I qualified 4th and finished 5th or something like that. Anyway, to mount my body, I took 2 old B4 servo mounts. I don't know if you can see them. They're buried down in here. Can you get in there, Chaz?
I'm working on it.
They have that characteristic.
Close in, it doesn't want to focus well, especially when you stick the tire in front of it.
Yeah. I'll zoom out.
I see it now, I think.
Anyway, but I took 2 old.
Yeah, there it is. Just leave it right there. Stop.
Yeah.
Let's see what I can do here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, and they're upside down.
Well, kind of. I mean, they're all turned around. But anyway, I just drilled 2 holes in the back of my rear shock tower and mounted the B4, and then put the body mounts with my nice J-Concepts carbon fiber stiffener. Just screwed those to the B4 servo mounts. And actually, I mean, this is about as sturdy of a body mount as you can get on a short course truck. It's still got some give in the actual body posts themselves. And one of the advantages of doing that, now this is combined with the tower forward mod that I did that'll be on the new truck. One of the advantages I did is that our usual body mounts were back here kind of in no man's land on the J-Concepts, what is this, the high flow body. But by moving the body mounts forward, I'm actually right in with where the stock body mounts are for the Associated or Losi or, a couple different dimples on that body to fit different trucks. But it puts the body mounts kind of in the standard area then. So anyway, if that's something you guys want to do, it's drill 2 little holes in your carbon fiber. I like to think that the XFactory family is kind of do-it-yourselfers. We like to keep the hobby in it, rather than I mean, it's kind of man, now I'm going off on a little rant, but it's kind of a turnoff that so many people in the hobby, like it's not, they just want to build their car and have it would be like factory perfect, and they're not willing to bust out a Dremel. And I was racing with somebody at Kurt Schleister's track last weekend, and kid's fairly quick. He's been racing like 3-4 years, and he doesn't own a Dremel. He's never used one.
What?
And yeah, like you don't.
He doesn't own an XFactory car, does he?
Well, it's just.
And it's not that you need a Dremel for our cars. We've worked hard to get them to the point where.
Yeah, you used to. I mean, the original X5, there were instructions like, all right, here's how you modify the rear tower. Here's how. Yeah.
Dremel that.
It's just a matter of like, the Dremel is kind of the ultimate tool, but you can do it with X-Acto knives or files or stuff. But like, you don't make it your own. You know, you don't go through and shave here or change this, or if you don't. Oh, I want to move my battery forward, and your battery's forward. Like, I don't think people do that enough these days.
Yeah.
They build an exact copy of Mayfield's car, Cavalieri's car, and they're like, all right, this is my car, and I'm running it. And they're proud of it, they take good care of it, but they don't make it their own, I feel like most drivers out there, you could swap all, you could put all the cars on a bench and hand them out, and, they're all running the same setup, they're all running the same electronics, nobody changes anything, And it's kind of like this huge push towards uniformity that I think we lose something from the kind of individuality of like, hey, this is my car. This is what I've done to it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this might be faster, so I made it. There's still a lot of that spirit left. You see, like there's a guy making a custom 22 shock tower, or not. A custom 22 chassis out in California that's like 2 millimeters shorter or something like that. And Exotech made the bell cranks for the 22 that I think were a big improvement to it. And now Losie's making their own. But you just don't see the guys at the track who are just, I wanted to try this, so I made it.
Mm-hmm.
That's missing.
Now there's the guy from Greece.
Yeah. We'll leave that be.
Yeah, leave that alone. So we were going to talk about the 4-wheel drive class and the 2-wheel drive class. And that's why we have your 4-wheel drive and your 2-wheel drive car. That's backwards.
Yeah, no, you're backwards.
No,
I was correct.
4-wheel
I'm
drive.
running this show.
Not very well.
We have. Yeah, the what?
Yeah.
I mean, you want me to run that sticker all the time. The decal, the decal.
Depends on where you live.
Yeah.
Whether it's a decal or a decal. Why do you have radio antennae?
So I can see my car.
Okay.
I'm serious.
I remember there was a race where it was getting dark and you wanted a day glow.
Yeah. No, just occasionally, most tracks are fine, but occasionally you get to a track that, if there's a big elevation change in the back and the car is kind of more eye level rather than looking down on it, if the driver's stand is, this happened all the time at the Hot Rod Hobby Shootout, all the time. What do you say? Having an antenna, the pipe will be obscuring your wheels, it'll be obscuring 90% of the body, and if all you can see is the wing, you really don't know where you're at. So having an antenna that sticks up is a big help. Also, and this is actually probably the main reason, that the reason I just gave is the official reason that sounds good and it's logical.
Well, that's all we're going to give.
No, see, the other reason is that these are RC cars, and in my opinion, they should have antenna.
Well, I agree with that, too.
Like, sounds dumb, but it's true.
So there.
Yep.
So there.
Also, any radio company will tell you that the higher you get this up in the air, the better your reception is.
Yeah.
And I know we're on 2.4 and you can curl your antenna up real tight, but trust me, when you start having radio problems...
Uncurl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything you can do to prevent radio problems is good. Anyway, 2-wheel, 4-wheel. 2-wheel, 2-wheel, 4-wheel. 2-wheel.
So tell me why you...
Even though they both have 4 wheels, have you ever wondered about that?
So tell me...
But these wheels aren't powered, see? I can't... Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm being silly.
So tell me why...
Unlike before, I've never been silly in my life.
Never. Tell me why it is that you...
Well...
And the coach... And...
All right. I've talked about this in a couple of the seminars I've given this last year. I've talked about this to people at the side of the track, so those who know me have probably talked about this with me. Right now, I think that two-wheel drive buggies are really, really good. Okay? And what I mean by that is that, and I'm talking kind of on a general overall level, but I believe that the X6 Cube, the 22 mid motor, the RB6, the B5M, the Schumacher, like, they're all really good. And I mean, okay, this car is faster here, this car is better on high bite, this car makes more traction. Like, they have different characteristics. I'm not saying they're all the same, but they're all pretty darn good. And if you build your car and you put the factory setup on it and you go run it, you can get fast and you can turn good laps. And it's kind of a sign to me that the different companies have their cars really well figured out. We've all put a lot of development time, a lot of resources into developing the two-wheel drive platforms. And I think it kind of shows when you watch, I mean, just watching a two-wheel drive go around the track, they look really good. They look under control, they look fairly easy to drive, and they're really fast. They get through corners, they square up, they have traction, they're awesome, they jump well. I thought it was interesting at the Roar Nationals a month ago now? A month and a half ago?
Month and a half.
That myself, Jason Coral, and Kurt Wanger, who are three major engineers in RC racing, certainly in 10-scale electric RC racing, ended up in the same two-wheel drive main. And in fact, for most of the main, we were battling it back and forth. I think Coral was in front of me and Kurt Wanger was behind me, running like third, fourth, and fifth. And I like to kind of keep an eye on where people are, and I mean, you race against the same, when you travel especially, you race against the same people all the time at different tracks, and it's kind of fun to compare yourself. Not the phone again.
Not the phone again. Cecilia's
we got it.
answer.
We got it. Headset.
Got it.
We're good. Anyway, I compare that to the four-wheel drive.
You never know what's going to happen in an X-Factory VideoCast.
I compare that to four-wheel drive, where, and I don't want this to be an inflammatory statement, but I pretty much think all of the current cars are terrible. You watch people drive them, and they just look like, the two-wheel drive looks composed and good and dialed, and the four-wheel drives look out of control. Like the drivers are barely hanging on. And it also shows, I think, one of the examples I've used, like I said, I've talked about this in my seminars, and one of the first seminars I gave was at Redneck RC, right after the Columbus race. It was in February, and the Columbus race was in January. And Ryan Mayfield TQ'd, I think it was round 3 of qualifying, and he ran 14 laps in like 5:22 with his two-wheel drive buggy, right? He ran 14 laps in like 5:15 with his four-wheel drive and also TQ'd. And that tells me that, like, now his lap times, he was a second a lap faster with his four-wheel on his good laps. But he had way more wrecks, and the car was just way harder to drive. He's not near as consistent. It's not near as easy or planted or dialed as his two-wheel drive is. And so I think we've seen, what do you say? I think we've seen a huge amount of development in two-wheel drives. And I think we're starting to see people, all right, our two-wheel drive is good, we're competitive with it, our team drivers like it, it's a good car. Now we're attacking the four-wheel drive market, and we're seeing the latest iterations of four-wheel drive, particularly the hot bodies, the D413, what do you say, the B44.3 with the gear diffs, and we're seeing some people try some out-of-the-box thinking to try to get their four wheels easier to drive, to try to get their four wheels to that same dialed state that their two-wheel drive cars are. That's my basic point. Two-wheel drives, good, fun, awesome. Four-wheel drives, hard, fast, kind of awesome in their own way. Yep.